We're living it up, palm trees with sea breeze. We're living it up, no clouds with blue seas. We're on a jet ski, living this life, tropical island paradise. We're living it up, palm trees with sea breeze.
Nothing I say is financial advice and shouldn't be constituted as financial advice. I'm a grown-ass man in a Spider-Man mask who gives you fire crypto information. Again, none of this is financial advice. Make your own decisions. What is up, everybody? I am Mr. Man, and today's show, oh man, I came to bring the heat today. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this. I had spoken about this before in the past, Project Planet. But today we're going to be looking at agnostics, being blockchain agnostic, the interconnectivity of blockchains, and how this manifests in our real world. So this is a real world use case taking place here that you guys may or may not know of. I brought this up in the early days of the Mr. Man channel. All right, let's jump into this. I want you guys to learn what blockchain agnostic means, because it means different things to different people, to different blockchains, to different movements. All right. So this is part one.
So hello, thank you for being here. My name is Alvaro. I'm the general manager here at Finboot, and I'm with Oscar. Today we will be talking about blockchain agnostic and a little bit the benefits, how we are addressing it from Finboot, and how we think this will evolve. Oscar, if you want to introduce yourself shortly.
Yeah, sure. I'm Oscar Gomez, and I'm the technical lead here at Finboot. So that's me.
Great. I have some questions, and I will be addressing them, but the idea is to have kind of a conversation. So the first of all is, what does blockchain agnostic mean? No? From the public, from the general perspective, what does it mean?
So starting from the beginning, I mean, giving a bit of context of blockchain is kind of a technology. You can see it as a database or something similar to this. So, and the blockchain, the different blockchains that we have some blockchain-specific features that are different from one blockchain to the other. So making it agnostic is generating a common language and universal language of how to interact with a blockchain. This is the agnostic concept, let's say.
That's great. And how do you think developers, partners, and enterprises also can benefit from choosing a software or a platform that is blockchain agnostic?
Yeah, they can benefit in different ways, depending on whether they are developers, partners, or clients. The thing is that software is expensive, right? And because of that, you don't want to have to change all your code because there is a threat or a security issue in one particular blockchain. So, and this has happened only in all the history of blockchain. Blockchain is something that is evolving constantly. So it could happen that a blockchain just gets deprecated because of a problem and security that cannot be fixed. This is one thing. And the other is that it's evolving a lot in terms of different natures. Depending on the needs that one company have, they can decide one blockchain or the other because it's better fits their purpose of the company or the developer or the solution that they want to provide. So being able to shift from one to another, imagine, for example, number of transactions. Someone that needs a lot of transactions per second may choose one blockchain technology today and may choose another one that has better performance or better number of transactions per second 1 year after. So that's the way of one can benefit from having this blockchain agnostic way of interacting with the blockchain for not having to change the code when changing the underlying blockchain technology.
I think, just to complement you a little bit, I think that at the end it's a matter of investment and return. When you are investing on a blockchain platform, what you want to do, and more when we are seeing that this is the early stage of the technology, what you want to do is to invest on a platform that enables you flexibility to at the end kind of try it and test it now that we are on the, I would say, on the initial phase of it, and then scale that implementation also without needing to restart everything, no? And I think that that's very important to all the three of the actors, no?
Yes, I'm sure you are all aware that we know some blockchain agnostic companies and currency agnostic companies. The currency agnostic is the very important part, meaning it can interoperate with whatever currency exists, whether crypto to crypto or fiat to fiat, fiat to real estate to bonds, bonds to fiat, whatever to whatever. Currency value is value no matter what the value is. So, that being said, I had posted this on my page here the other day. We're talking about being blockchain agnostic. Now we're going to be talking about the interconnectivity of these blockchains. Because yeah, blockchains have to be able to port from here to say here if you want to move your stuff from here to here. But if you don't want to move your stuff for whatever reason, but you still want to be able to mingle with this blockchain here, you have to be interconnected from this blockchain to this blockchain. There's going to be things in the middle here, contracts, bridges, whatever. There's going to be something in the middle there. So let's listen to what these gentlemen have to say. This is a 3-minute snippet too. They are from the Federal, or the Faster Payments Council, sponsored by Volante. Ripple is also a member on this council here, and they going to be meeting next in spring in March 2024. Today is November 14th, 2023. You are early and you're getting all this information hands down. Listen to this, okay?
I'm selfishly interested in is, the influence, if any, of instant payments on the use of cash.
Yeah, no, great question. And I think, the rest of the world has been, not the rest, but a lot of the world has been talking real time and instant payments for a little while now. And I think right now there's a lot of discussion on interconnecting systems, right? It's kind of at that point where in a lot of Asian markets or in the Latin American markets, various central banks and markets have rolled out their own internal instant payments, all with different degrees of success and with different size user bases. But the question out there is, how do we connect these things together? How can we use it for cross-border? I think everybody kind of sees cross-border as this, expensive, difficult, slow way to make payments. And historically it's cash. It's bringing cash into it too, right? Cash is kind of one of those ways that has been used as well. Also very expensive to move cash, both domestically and especially internationally. So how can we connect these systems? And there's things that the BIS is looking at. There's other programs that are out there. But I think what we're seeing right now is it's kind of this regional, these regional efforts, right? It's kind of like countries next door to each other, whether it's in Africa and like a Southern Africa region, or neighboring countries in Asia, or some in South America, that are trying it because, it makes sense, right? It's your neighbor. It's where a lot of your trade is going. It's where you're doing a lot of your economic activity. And it's good to try to figure out some things regionally, but from a US perspective, I think the challenge will be, okay, yeah, we could do something regionally, but let's face it, our US currency is everywhere, right? We have, we would need to be more global about it. So I think, yes, the BIS is doing things, but I think a lot of other countries are also kind of waiting and seeing, all right, how is the US going to do this? Now that its real-time payments are out there, what are those connections going to look like? How is that going to be done? And then I think they're ready to follow in the footsteps of that relatively quickly. They've been they don't want to develop something, have the US come along with a whole different standard, and then they have to redo it. So I think there's a bit of that. So there's that wait and see, a lot of regional stuff going on. But everybody's excited that FedNow is out, in particular. Of course, the clearinghouse has been out in this space for a while now, but everybody's excited the Fed is in the game now, and is eager to see what happens. Because I think the other thing we've seen internationally is that there's no there's no one size fits all with this. Every country kind of has their own use cases, their own their own way they've put it out. Some are more heavy-handed, right? In the you will use this, and
So you heard it there. They have the regionals connected already. Say in Canada, you have Saskatchewan, Ontario, BC out there, Alberta over here, PEI out there. They're all connected. Then you have the states. I don't know the geography of the states unless I'm looking at a map, I'll be honest with you. Europe, no idea either. I've been to Europe, been to the states several times, but I don't got the geography up in this noggin here. But the states are interconnected on a state level. But in terms of, say, the states going to Canada now, they might be that bilateral agreement, but I don't know. And from, say, Canada to Hong Kong, from Hong Kong to UAE, they have it set up. They have it set up, but they're not releasing it yet because they want to see what the U.S., the conglomerate, is doing. The BlackRock of the country, if you will. Right? There's the BlackRock as the asset manager that owns the world, if you will. And then there's the conglomerate here. The U.S. corporation is the one that says what people can and can't do still because they still own that lion's market share. So, speaking of interconnectivity now, I was listening to Sergey Nazarov this morning from Chainlink, and this man was dropping fire during this Impact conference they had here. I think it was a couple months ago. And what I had said here is connecting the Internet of Value, which is XRPL, XRP, through the Internet of Contracts, which is IOC, using CCIP. So this is now connecting the blockchains, XRPL, whatever else there is out there, say Stellar, and we'll say Algorand at this point. Sure, they can speak to each other. They might be currency agnostic to go from here to there in terms of tokenization and value moving. But then there's contracts that need to exist. Ripple on the XRPL has its contract, but when it's out into the internet at that point, what's the standard? When it's out in the internet, what is the standard for these contracts? That's what this is about here. Listen to this here. Listen, listen, listen.
Where all of this leads us collectively, and this is really what we're trying to do, we're trying to collectively get our industry to a certain place, right? Because frankly, once you have as much market share as the Chainlink system does, your goal is still to be the standard and to make the most secure, reliable system. But your other goal is to grow the entire industry. Because frankly, while our industry at $1 trillion is impressive, I think it has tens to hundreds of times more value that can flow into it from various places. But where I think all of this work will lead is an internet of contracts, of highly reliable, interconnected applications on various chains that, regardless of where they were launched, have access to reliable connectivity to the outside world, have access to reliable computation that can't be manipulated, and have access to all the other contracts on all the other chains and all the other private keys on all the other chains for them to receive value and for them to provide their value to those other contracts and those other private key holders. And this will create, this term Internet of Contracts has come and gone and come again and back and forth, but I think it's actually a good term because you're arriving at a place where everything is so connected, where it's just one internet. It's like one Internet of Contracts. It's one place where regardless of what chain you go on, you're in one place, just like the internet. And that's where I think we get to some next level usage and adoption and value being provided to users. One of the key inputs into this is the banking system. So banks have a lot of money, is basically the reality of the situation. They've been around for a while. Banks are where people put money. Banks are where people put value. And they're going to continue to have huge amounts of value. So frankly, our industry needs to find a way to take the value in banks and get that value into blockchains. Because there's hundreds of trillions of value rolling around in that place. It's the place where for the past couple of hundred years, all the value has been aggregated and placed. So what we're working on now, in addition to connecting all the different DeFi protocols, all the different public chains, is how do banks connect between each other, and how do banks then connect to public chains. Right now, with CCIP, what we're seeing is that there are banks interconnecting with each other regionally. So like US banks doing transactions with US banks, European banks doing transactions with European banks, and Asian banks with Asian banks. So it's a very regional world right now. What we're working on is accelerating that. So not only does the regional activity between banks massively increase, but the global activity between banks massively increases, and then that global and regional activity of value from banks being on chains flows into the public blockchain world. Because fundamentally, I think banks and the global financial system as it exists today sees a lot of value in blockchains and digital assets. There's just kind of a legal barrier between public chains and banks and private chains. But basically, both groups of people and both ecosystems are involved in the same thing. They're making transactions. And those transactions are basically about the same thing. They're about financial products. And so it's at least to me, completely obvious that the banking world and the public blockchain world wants to connect. They can't connect for two reasons. There isn't legal clarity, how they connect, and then the technical process of connecting doesn't exist. So the legal clarity, I'm gonna have nothing to do with that. That's someone else's problem. I'm not gonna get too involved in that. I'm just gonna work on technology and make sure that the technology properly fulfills the requirements of connectivity. One body of work there is our ability to work with existing bank standards, like the SWIFT protocol and messaging system, to efficiently connect banks to hundreds of chains so that they don't need to have the burden of integrating with hundreds of chains. So the less friction there is for banks to transact with each other, and the less friction there is for banks to transact with public chains for whatever, like their client comes to them and says, I want you to buy and hold an NFT for me. I want you to buy and hold some kind of real-world asset made on a public chain. Or people in DeFi say, I want real-world assets that act as good collateral from banks. I'll pay banks a premium. All of these things, at least to me, are relatively obvious next steps in how all of this will go, because both of these groups are kind of doing the same thing. They just need to finally get connected. And the ability to connect them efficiently so that the banks can interface with chains that allow them to interact with each other and then allow them to interact with public chains is really the big technical hurdle here.
So there you have it. The Internet of Value connect with the Internet of Contracts. There's not one blockchain to rule them all. They all work together in this interconnected net. The network of networks, essentially. Picture a giant web on top of a giant web on top of a giant web. And they all work together to accomplish this one internet, if you will. Think of the metaverse. Think of the Matrix. That's what we're moving into. This individual here, Sergey Nazarov from Chainlink. That was fire! Okay, so back in the day, that's what it was. When was this? What day was this? I don't even know. April, in the spring, April 14th, 2023, I posted a progress towards a federated logistics through the integration of TENT-T into a global trade network. A unified ledger accomplished through the project Planet. And those ledgers include Interledger Sophie, which is Interledger, the sidechain. We have Interledger itself, we have Polkadot, we got Cosmos. Let's jump into that. This is Planet Project right here, an EU initiative. Can you zoom in? No, we're not zooming in. That's it? Okay, we're not zooming in. Progress towards federated logistics through the integration of TENT-T into a global trade network. Accelerating the collaborative transition towards the physical internet in the context of new and emerging routes. I have the objectives, I have the about I want to read to you guys, but first, let us jump into this short video about TENT-T to show you guys what this, Project Planet, to show you guys what it's all about. To give you a quick visual overview. That way, as we're reading, you can follow along because you've got a better understanding now, alright? Let's do this. On this channel, I want to hit every sensory you got to hopefully you will remember it and retain that information. I can't do the physical, but hopefully you're feeling my vibration and my vibration will hit you in a physical way. Let's do this.
Welcome to Planet, a 36-month research project co-funded by the European Commission through the Horizon 2020 Mobility for Growth program. Planet joins 33 participants from 14 countries, including public, private, and R&D companies that have a common vision to advance in the European Commission's strategy for smart, green, and integrated transport and logistics. The realization of this vision is what Planet calls the Integrated Green EU Global TNL Network, which are international logistics systems that make use of physical and digital infrastructures, aim at operational excellence for customers and external stakeholders, incorporate geo-economic context, and are enabled by disruptive transport and logistics concepts and technologies. The project organizes its activities around 3 living labs that will concentrate their actions in different European sites. The living labs will contribute to the strategic analysis of global flows based on the corridors where they're located, the analysis of corridor infrastructure issues, and the investigation of integration of the respective global corridor with the TEN-T. Furthermore, Living Labs will investigate innovative ways to coordinate complex supply chains through multimodal corridors involving private and public stakeholders. Concerning Living Lab 1, it is located at the Asia-Europe corridor and focuses on evaluating how new technologies, IoT, AI, and blockchain, and Concept's physical internet can improve warehouse and cargo processes and operations from the port of Valencia to Madrid, as well as efficiency along the door-to-door transport chains linking the Maritime Silk Road with EU internal corridors. On the other hand, Living Lab 2 focuses on dynamic and synchromodal management of TEN-T and intercontinental flows, promoting rail transport and utilizing the Port of Rotterdam as the principal smart EGTN node, coordinating the rail transport chains linking China through Rotterdam to and from USA and the Rhine-Alpine corridor destinations. Finally, Living Lab 3 will streamline logistic processes and flows from China to Europe along the Silk Road route by implementing IoT technologies and GS1 standards that facilitate transmission of data between the partners involved in the e-commerce operations. As a result of this extensive work, a better understanding of Industry 4.0 technologies will be achieved, demonstrating the benefits of emerging concepts such as the physical internet. In this regard, the effective pilots tested during the project will lead to more intelligent transport node decision-making, increasing economic, environmental, and societal benefits of the EU transport and logistics network.
Tell me, honestly, how can you look at this and tell me that's not madness? That's sweet. That is a physical use case now. That's a real world use case. You can touch it, you can see it. If you're there, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can be about it. How about that for a real world use case? Living Level 2, I think that's what they called it. Living Level 2 includes the Americas. That's what we're about. This, I believe, is also connected with Global Gateway, but I'm not 100% sure. As always, you know I got the documents about that. I mean, it wouldn't be the Mr. Man channel if we didn't have the document to support what we said, right? Pop Macala. I don't got a collar, but I can, dust the dirt up. Not that I'm dirty either, but whatever. So this is the Planet Project. Planet Project, progress towards federated logistics through the integration of Tent-T into a global trade network. So let's see who is involved in this. So what we're looking at here, according to surveys and analysis in this literature, this is where I'm at, follow me along, approaches looking to achieve blockchain interoperability can be classified into the following high-level categories: public connectors, blockchain of blockchains, and hybrid connectors. We know those terms. You might not know a blockchain of blockchains yet, but I'm going to introduce that to you guys. Each category can be further divided into subcategories based on defined category or criteria, while each category serves specific use cases. The public connectors are commonly cryptocurrency related and deal with the movement of fungible values from one ledger to another. Fungible values. The consensus and contract layers, we were just talking about that, for the creation of customized blockchain infrastructures and serves general use cases. The hybrid connectors approach is an attempt at delivering a blockchain abstract layer. That would be a blockchain front end. In the case of Planet, capable of exposing a set of uniform interfaces that allow stakeholders to interact with blockchain systems without the need of using different APIs. So you'd have the one API for everything. The API is the screen that you see in front of you. Should you be the one behind the control of all this to check out the data and all that fun jazz. The EGTN platform follows a hybrid connectors approach for the architecture of its blockchain service as it interconnects existing backend systems and expose universal standardized interfaces to actors of the supply chain. Moreover, the abstraction layer of the EGTM blockchain service enables the provision of TNL related to data and the EGTN dashboard for visualization. So in terms of an API, this is what it could possibly look like. It's a very, very terrible picture, but that might be the front end system, the EGTN system they were talking about there. And here are the different, links they have on their main page, webpage, interface, whatever it is they're using. And here's the goals they're looking for: simulation, forecast, predictive transport, predictive DSS, layer level 1, blockchain, routing optimization, blockchain secured transactions, corridor nodes, regulations, networking, traceability, IoT. So we're going to hop back to here again, okay? I want to get down to show you the mapping. So here we have Interledger Sophie. The Sophie Interledger component is an outcome of the H2020 Sophie project, which ended in December 2020. The code base is open source on GitHub. I believe that is now partnered with Ripple as well, with GitHub. Through the Interledger component, activity on an initiator ledger triggers activity on one or more responder ledgers in an atomic manner. It supports different types of ledgers. For example, Ethereum, Hyperledger, Fabric, Hyperledger Indy, Hyperledger KSI, not Hyperledger KSI, Indy and KSI, can be used in multiple use cases which fall under both the hybrid connectors and the public connectors category. There's the public blockchain we were talking about earlier. Okay, then there's Hyperledger Cactus here. Hyperledger Cactus project began in 2020 when Fujitsu, the camera place, open sourced its tool for blockchain interoperability under the umbrella of the Hyperledger and Linux Foundation. It is currently in incubation. Hyperledger project. Okay. What else is there? There's the Interledger Protocol, ILP, Cosmos. This is such an interesting project, the Cosmos project, the blockchain of blockchains, all right? This is what's up, man. Cosmos launched 2019 is a decentralized network of independent parallel blockchains. So you have a hub blockchain, let's see what they say, called zones. And the zones are based on Tendermint, which is their protocol, a fast and secure Byzantine BFT consensus engine, along with a peer-to-peer network gossiping protocol, sort of like Hashgraph. Zones can transfer data to other zones directly or via the hub. You have the hub here, which is the Cosmos, and then you have the Tendermint or IBCs around the area. They're all little blockchains, all right? Hubs minimize the number of connections between zones and avoid double spending. So there you go. That's what the it looks like. The hub and then the zones. All right, that's what that hand movement was. Hub and spoke connectivity. We got Polkadot up in this joint. This is what a unified ledger looks like, and I showed you the actual real world use case on what it's going to do and how it's connecting Europe to Asia, Europe to North America. That's what I call money. Money. Money, 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 money. Okay, for real. Polka is a shared heterogeneous multi-chain architecture that enables external networks as well as customized layers. Parachains is what they call it. To communicate, thus creating an interconnected internet of blockchains. The network uses an environmentally friendly proof-of-stake consensus algorithm and follows practices similar to the Cosmos network. They work hand in hand. It can be used to interconnect permissionless and permission ledgers, while high scalability can be achieved using sharding by spreading transactions across the parachains. For example, the equivalent to Cosmos zones, allowing them to process transactions in parallel. So you see, it's not one blockchain versus each other. They all have their own different roles within this new internet, the Web 3.0 that's coming out. They all work together. All right, I love me XRP, I love me XLM, I love me Algorand, XDC, IOTA. I like QNT. Trust me, I got me some Cosmo, I got me some Polka, I got me some Dot, man. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I see how these things are being used, so I'm not going all in on one thing. I am keeping myself diversified because you never know where life leads. That's my strategy. I'm talking about that right now. I am diversified. I have big projects like this too. All right? Because you never know what happens and where life leads. So, this is the updated version of it. This is the 2022 finalized project, or finalized paper for Project Planet. And here we have now the view of the workflow for Interledger at that point. So the point of view of the blockchain, Block Lab blockchain, and Epic's IoT right here. Excuse me, the EGT infrastructure, event streaming, and BC connectors, Interledger services, and then the front dashboard here. You can see the workflow and how it's going to work and operate. City login database, sweet. That's the EGTN dashboard. So I'm now on the Shaping Europe's Digital Future. I'm on the page. This is as of 2022. This publication was issued. It's not old news. We just went over one of the projects. This is an overview of EU-funded blockchains related projects. I just went over one project with you. This is still current news. Very, 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 hear me out, very, very relevant. That's the word, relevant. Until today, already 437 million euros. Funding has been planned and used to support blockchain-related research and innovation. Just research? As we go down, the Commission also manages EU Parliament pilot projects, PPP, which have resulted, for example, in the creation of the European Blockchain Observatory and Forum. So, you know I had to do it, so here we are on the EU Blockchain Observatory and Forum. As we scroll through, let's go see what their agenda's about here. Okay, what do they got here? Latest news. International Conference Blockchain Impact Web 3. Okay, Internet of Value. Keyword. Keywords. Blockchain and a new era. Remember they have an EU project New Era, which has to do with the DFMI, the digital, I don't remember what the FMI stands for, but that includes Finastra, Ripple, and a bunch of other companies as well. Blockchain impact on business Web3 internet. Look at this. We just missed this one here. Blockchain for life in Dubai. I gotta check that out. That's what's up. And these ones coming up. This one came today. The blockchain impact on businesses. I missed that one today. And this one here, blockchain for new era. In a new era for the value chain from cobalt in DRC to electric battery plants. Electric batteries. Maybe something to look into in terms of investments. I'm not a financial advisor. I say that in the beginning of my video. Let you know now, I'm not a financial advisor. But you see them looking into it, so it might be something I myself will look into as well. So, as we jump back, we're going to go down. Here's more project reports from some of their initiatives they've funded. Let's go see some of these projects. Here we go. EU funded projects, pro contra, EU contribution with approximate figures. I imagine these are in the millions. Okay. Blockchain Gov, Big, BB Twins, Trick, Cities, Hereware, Impulse, Feature Cloud, Copa Europe, Bright, Die Tech, Trust Eat, NGI, NGI Assure, Plat One, True Blow, Onto Chain, Trapeze, Puzzle, Pop Machina, Planet. And that's what we went through today. There is Project Planet. Cyber Kits. Look at this. Like, it's just, look at these. And all these are real world initiatives happening here. And this is through interconnectivity. And I showed you a few blockchains in terms of interconnectivity. We'd gone through Hyperledger. We had gone through, quickly, we had gone through Interledger, Hyperledger, Interledger. We had checked out Polkadot. We had checked out Cosmos. So we know who some of the big players are in this real world EU economy now for the 10T project. There is one more video I wanted to show you guys before I come off of this. Here we go. Let's do this.
The European Union announced its support for 10 new cross-border train services across the EU. This would make the EU more interconnected through rail than ever before. This video will explain what this new proposal entails, why the EU is choosing to develop its railway system, and what this proposal will do for EU citizens. Before we go into the new proposal, it is worth explaining the Trans-European Transport Network and its vision. The 10T is an EU transport network spanning through the entire EU and connecting all major cities, regions, and ports via roads, railways, airports, seaports, and waterways. The goal is to create a seamless and sustainable transportation system for goods and people and boost overall economic and social development. It has been in the works since the 1990s, and the 10 cross-border trains announced this year will be another building block towards making this a reality. The 10 proposals by the EU Commission include a night train from Amsterdam to Barcelona, a line connecting Lisbon to Madrid, an enhancement of the existing line from Amsterdam to London, a night train connecting Paris, Milan, and Venice, multiple new or upgraded lines connecting Munich to Zurich, Milan, Rome, Vienna, and Budapest, further services connecting Austria and Hungary to Western Romania, night and day trains connecting Prague, Leipzig, Berlin, Hamburg, Copenhagen, and Stockholm, with further day services to Gothenburg and potentially Oslo. While the EU is happy to give the projects its stamp of approval, the Commission has not yet allocated funding, nor set a specific time frame for their completion. Instead, the Commission is offering to help rail overcome the following 10 key challenges that are inherent to cross-border train travel. So why is the EU doing this? Well, the EU is working towards a more sustainable and low-carbon future by implementing the Fit for 55 package. This package's objectives for 2030 include a minimum reduction of 40% in greenhouse gas emissions from 1990 levels, a 32% increase in the use of renewable energy sources in the EU's energy mix, and a 32.5% improvement in energy efficiency compared to the baseline scenario. Transport represents 27% of Europe's total CO2 emissions. And with trains being the most efficient means of transportation, it is no wonder that trains are a key component of the package. The EU therefore wants to double high-speed train traffic across the EU by 2030 and triple it by 2050. So how will EU citizens benefit from these changes? Europeans looking to travel across the continent will soon have more options available to them, thereby increasing competition and hopefully driving down prices. And let's face it, wouldn't you agree that train travel is much more comfortable than air travel? Here's what we think. We love the initiative the EU is showing, as it is improving the EU's infrastructure, making travel more affordable, and it is better for the environment. We also love the bigger picture regarding the vision of the Trans-European Transport Network, and if you would like a video solely on that, let us know. If you enjoy short and informative videos about the EU, then please subscribe and like the video.
Alright guys, I hope you all found value in this video here and this new real world infrastructure being built in front of our eyes, as long as you're looking for it. If it wasn't in front of your eyes, it is now. So I hope you found value in this video. As always, I'll catch you on the next one.
We're living it up, palm trees with sea breeze.